Hey everyone, welcome to our lesson on solving systems algebraically. To solve a system algebraically, that really just means we're going to use our algebra solving steps to solve for each variable in that system of equations. So, what is a system of equations? You're going to see sets of equations, either two or more, put together in a brace, and that's a system of equations. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 or 4 variables or even more, and when we're needing to solve that system, we're going to have to solve for all of our variables. We're going to be taking a look at systems of 2 equations in these examples. So our strategy here is going to be to take one of our equations in that set and solve for one of the variables, and then we're going to use that expression in the other equation, and eventually we're going to get a value for both variables. Alright, so we're going to take this system of equations and do that. So we can see we have 2x plus y equals 11 and x plus y equals 8. And our strategy is going to be to take one of these equations and solve for one of the variables. So let's say that we would like to take the bottom equation here and solve that for y. To solve for y means we just need to get the y by itself. So we need to move everything else away from y. So to do this, I'm going to take my x that's on the same side as my y and get rid of it. It's a positive x, so I'm going to move it over by subtracting, doing the opposite. Get rid of it on the left, and I will have y equals negative x plus 8 on the right. And that is just getting one of our variables alone so that we can now substitute this expression into our other equation and eventually get a value. Alright, so remember we came up with y equals negative x plus 8 in that bottom equation. Okay, if y equals this expression can be a substitute for y. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, remember y equals negative x plus 8. So, in my first equation in our system, 2x plus y equals 11, I can now put this whole expression instead of a y. I'm going to do that right here, and the reason why that is good is because now you can see we have an equation with just one variable. There's no longer 2 variables, I just have one, I have x. That means I can do my solving steps to solve for that x. So let's look at our like terms and let's work on that. Let's work on getting x by itself. So I've got 2x plus negative 1x, so that's going to give me just 1x, plus 8 equals 11. So some number plus 8 equals 11, and we know that's 3. And if we needed to solve for that, we would take the opposite of plus 8, which is minus 8, use that on both sides, and come up with 11 minus 8, which is 3. So x equals 3. Let's remember that for our next step. Once we have the value for one of our variables, we can substitute that value again into really either one of the original equations and find the other variable. So x was 3, remember? So we're going to put that in for x in this equation. I've just chosen one of our equations from our system. You can use either one. 3 plus y is 8, so we know some number added to 3 equals 8, and we know that that's 5. If we needed to solve for it, we could use our solving steps and take the opposite operations. The opposite of 3 is negative 3, so I could subtract 3 on both sides, and I would have y equals 5. Come up with 5. So our solution to this system of equations is 3, 5. The x is 3 and the y is 5. And this concludes our lesson on solving systems algebraically.